Okay. So we have some clear vision about the authority structures, and we have some right participants need to be join it in the architecture governance. So what do we mean by the governance? The why in which decisions are made, who is responsible, who is involved, and who is accountable. So have you ever created this governance architectures, and who's responsible, who is involved, and who is accountable for the governance? So this is the three things need to be, let us know that what things need to be done. So what is the architecture frameworks? So this is definitions three. The architecture frameworks, a conceptual structure used to develop, implement, and sustain an enterprise architecture. So the matter of fact that guys, it's a conceptual structure used to develop and implement and sustain an enterprise architecture. So the matter of fact that it's a logical, it's a conceptual logic, conceptual structure. Suppose you guys are creating a building, and first of all, you need to creating a structure. So the same sort of concept is a conceptual structure, which is we need to be created on the paper, and how it looks like, what is use cases, how to implement, how sustain an enterprise architecture. So most of the times in the information technology, we are working on a what different platforms like ERP solutions, like network solutions, cloud security solutions, or different things. So the matter of fact that guys, if you're going to create these conceptual structures, how to develop, how is the right structure of your networks, how the right structure of your applications, which is going for the long term. So it should describe a method for designing target state of the enterprise in terms of set of building blocks, and for showing how the building blocks fit together. So if you're talking about into the enterprise architecture, so we have different type of building blocks. Suppose you are creating a building and you required some cement, you required some bricks, you required concrete, you required some pillars, you required the resources, you required the scope, you required the costing. So we have different type of things is available. The same thing is into the enterprise architectures. Suppose you guys going to create the network architecture designing. So first of all, what type of designing you need to be create, like the modular approach, the hybrid approach of designing. Okay, I will going to show you, wait a second. So just take a look here, my dear friends. This is sort of diagrams. This is sort of, what the architecture sort of things. Okay, so we have some firewalls availability, then we have core switches, and then we have some distribution switches is all there. So I have one concern is over there. Have you ever created the structure, the diagram, the designing of networks or applications or anything in infrastructure point of view?
Yes, yes, I created. Yes, we created that.
Okay. So once you're going to creating the architectures, the designing, what is your main concern? Suppose you're going to create the architecture designing into the data centers. So in the data centers, what are the main concerns about for yourself? Because once you're working on the security operations centers, SOC and network operation centers, and they are usually creating the architectures first of all, and then they will going to implement all those architectures and deployment in the designs. So if you are going to creating a architecture designing on the network side, on the cloud side, at the security side of the application side, you should be understand the business continuity plan and the disaster recovery plan. Make sense?
Yeah,
So
it's okay.
you know that the business continuity plan. Any examples you have referred to me, sir? This is the business continuity plan we're going to create, and disaster recovery plan is this looks like. And major difference between the two things, because in the enterprise architecture, it is required to understand all the concepts about your data centers, because mostly you guys need to work on the security operation centers, SOC or NOC, network operation centers. So it's better you need to understand the how you want to create the business continuity plan is all about. How your business will be working effectively in an efficient way, and how your
Yes, Nagesh,
customer will
here
be happy.
actually that business, here actually business continuity means it is the application business, right?
Is a business continuity plan is yes. So what do you understand by BCP plan if you're going to implement the architecture designing in the data center?
Okay, so actually, what I'm saying is that you have the network plan. Actually, this one I can say it's a network diagram, network architect diagram. But this will be show the connections between the switch to router and router the firewall and the server zone, different VLANs. But if we go with the application means it is a bit different, right? Our business continuity means it's in the application area. Okay, and I have the application now. Okay, for example, so that in that application, okay, what are the components has to be connected? Like I have cut to the database and some other services. What are services are there? So this is what we used to say the business continuity or what?
It's a disaster recovery plan, my dear friends. Suppose once you're working on the architecture designing part, okay, and you require the redundant in the networks. If this network goes down, then what is the next approach? How your
Oh,
business
okay,
works efficiently. So if you're talking
okay,
about
okay,
the disaster recovery plan, we require more technical terms, like any disaster will be happen, then what needs to be done. Okay.
okay. Understood. It means suppose if the production is down, what is that another? What is the business team has to do? How to achieve the business? So DR, it's a DR site, right?
Yes, because
Okay,
DR
okay,
is required technical terms. Okay. We're going to
uh,
create some hot site, swap site, okay, hot site, cold site, okay,
okay.
in the companies. So we mobile site as well. So if you require, you know what, the one tier one architecture, tier two architectures, and tier three architectures. So do you know that what is the difference between the tier one to tier three architecture?
And, for me, no.
Okay. So tier one architecture and tier three
What is
architectures.
what?
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't get your question. What is that you're asking? The tier one, tier two. I didn't understand what you're asking the question.
My question is basically what is the difference between the tier one and tier two and tier three architectures? Somebody is going to say that, come on guys, we need to create some tier three or tier four architecture. So what is the difference between tier two and tier three or tier one?
Okay, so it's a technical. You mean like a because like a phase one, phase two, phase three like that, or but the application database and end users. That the three-tier architecture is application database and use this one you mean or something else? I'm not clear.
Okay, no problem, no problem. And Rahel, do you know that what is the tier one and tier two, tier three is all about?
No,
No, not much. No.
no.
Yes, tier one and tier three architectures we
Uh,
require some.
uh, I have some ideas. If just I will explain the tier one, tier two means we will be splitting the business engine separately, core services separately. It's a kind of distributed system.
Okay.
What
No,
I'm asking, yeah,
I'm
this
talking
one.
about the technical terms, my dear friends, because we are doing TOGAF and TOGAF is talking about more technical terms, more and more technical in the depth.
Okay.
because you are going to creating and designing and the design, the layout for the company's architectures, how the things going to be working, how much number of firewalls, how many number of switches we require. So as you have seen into this particular diagram, anyone, okay, uh, this one, this looks look fine. So we have some redundant networks. Suppose this firewall goes down, then will be valuable, and if it goes down, then this will be valuable. So we have redundant networks is there. Okay, first thing is this. So a tier 3 architectures, we require three different locations. Tier 2, two locations. Tier 1 is one location, is all there. Okay. So suppose you're going to create some tier 1 locations. Okay. So tier 1 locations, suppose this firewall goes down, then your business will be going to be crash. This switches goes down, then your business will be crashed down. But either this tier 2 architecture, suppose this is one site and this is another site, or we have some backup availability, high availability sort of terms, then this goes down, then this is going to be working. So this is tier 2 architectures, the two locations, two different backup solutions we have available, redundant networks. But if you're talking about some 3D architectures, we have three different locations, and we're going to create some architecture designing and layouts on the three locations. So that one location goes down, another location comes to the picture. So you are a security architecture or enterprise architecture, networking, database, servers, or we can say that the routers. Which is the most important thing for you? Once you're creating a disaster recovery plan, which is the best things for you to going to save? Routers, switches, firewalls, databases. Any answers you would like to share?
Firewall.
Once you're going to creating a databases, okay,
Okay,
on the disaster recovery plan.
One second, Mahesh. Actually, if you are meaning that tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 is like a high availability, if you are explaining in that way, like a tier 1 have, okay. So hello.
Okay. Yeah, I understand.
Yeah. So if you are saying that the tier.
Okay, please go ahead.
I mean, too much background noise is there because I'm hearing repeating my own voice. I guess.
Okay, wait a second.
If you can mute it, I can talk. So, yeah, now it's gone. Okay.
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah. So, what I mean to say, if you are explaining like tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, it's like a region wise or something like that. For the application, normally we use this tier term like a what I'm saying like a application, database, and end users. Like from the desktop you are using, that is the different tier, the 3-tier architecture we'll say. 3-tier architecture with application, database, this, and again high availability, the one you are talking about now. You're asking which you can compromise, firewall or switches or servers or database, if it's for the high availability. So the most important thing that for the any organization is the data, is firewall or switches. It doesn't matter. You can throw the switch and put another switch. It does not lose for them anything. So the most important thing in a organization is data. So the database, you should always, they will keep a disaster recovery site for the database. There will be a primary site and there will be DR site. The primary can be, the site can be in Bangalore or wherever your location may be. The disaster site might be in Chennai, okay, or disaster, or the region wise, maybe in India and Singapore. I keep my database DR site in Singapore and my primary site is in the Bangalore. So because of the the most important thing is the data. The application is just anytime you can install or configure and fetch the data from that. So most of the companies, what they do for high availability depends on their budget, depends on their budget. Okay, basically the cost. So they can decide whether they want only the data or they want the application also, or they want the high availability of the complete structure like firewall, switches, one layer of everything in this region as well as that region. It will be like an active passive. So one region is completely disaster happen, only the database level, only switchover will happen, and this all other stuff will be accessing in India itself. But imagine like if your data center altogether got flood or something happened, so complete is gone. But you have only the DR is the database side, only the HA, high availability. Then you can build the application and other stuff, and then the accessing the user, it takes maybe 2 days. That is called RPO and RTO. There is so many criteria come into this one. So if their RPO and the RTO, like the recovery time for bringing up the application for the end users who are using in the country or the organization, they can afford 2 days time, no problem. Only database side is required, but they cannot afford that even end users should be accessible like a bank or something like that. They want the application as well as database as well as switches, everything. They will make it an active passive mode on the site, on the premise, and as well as the somewhere the DR side. So high availability on the primary site itself, plus DR site also they will make high availability. That will be in a different region, different country. Okay, so that will be switches, firewall, database, everything. All will be one set. Will be passively standing there, and anytime it's gone, something have disaster, completely flood come, and imagine the data center in Kerala, and it gone because of the flood. Something happened, all destroyed. They will access from there within minutes. In 20 minutes, they can switch over to that site, recover from that site, which is in the Singapore or which is in Bombay. So from there, they will access all work will continue to of the work will keep on happening. This is the this is what you mean by tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3. I am not sure, because normally the 3-tier architecture say application, database, and end users, like the desktop users. This is called 3-tier architecture. And here, whatever you're talking about the governance, I don't know what is governance. I didn't understand. And when and about the enterprise architecture, that the slide 2 slides back also, who will take the decision. These parts I'm not clear. But the one what when you are explaining based on the this firewalls, switches, databases, and the screen what you shared, in that you are asking which is important, means I will say only data. Database is important. Nothing else is important, because this all can be replaceable. And one way you can access, but access availability, for the availability they will make a HA for the primary site itself. Like you, as per the architecture here, when we design, we will ask for the customer, do you have a budget for the another servers or another switches to make it a physical, like a load balancer also. You need a physical two load balancers, physical the switches, firewalls, and physical servers, or virtualization, whatever it is. For that, additional resources required to make a similar identical application. What you're accessing an application. Say you have 10 application machines and 2 database machines for and 3 firewall switches or firewall, and to access for your 2000 end users or something like that. So you will make an identical in the primary site itself. In that case, one gone, other will handle. But the total disaster happen, it will go for the next region. So I'm not sure what you mean by the tier. This is the what you mean by tier or something else, if you can explain. And I don't understand what is governance and the enterprise architecture and framework. These terms I'm not familiar. Like framework, TOGAF framework. I don't know what is mean by TOGAF framework. It's a separate methodology or what that. So you can be more clear on that. But this part I am what you're talking about the high available. This is I'm clear. We are doing it, for the as per the budget, as per the requirement. But other terms, I'm not sure. So you understood maybe what I have explained. So you can make me understand better in the TOGAF or the terms, the governors and these and who take decisions and all.
Yes, Aski, you're right, absolutely right so far as concerned, because the matter of fact that you have fantastic knowledge about the infrastructure part. The matter of fact that if you're talking about into the governance part or the architecture's designing development sort of stuff, so that you need to be develop those skills, because in that architectures it's not a part of infrastructure sort of stuff, but you need to do some more formations like that. So, Rahil, what's your point of view about it? Do you agree with the statement which I'm talking about here? Hello.
Sorry, Mahesh, you are asking something?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So, Aski, I understand that your point of view, you are very good sound knowledge about the what infrastructure point of view, because you're just talking about so many examples and elaborate
Yeah,
some MTR, also talking about some RTO,
yeah,
recovery point of
yeah.
objective. Uh,
Correct. Because this is my job is like this is like for the I'm an infrastructure architecture design giving for regardless not ERP means or any application like now recently what we are doing for the high security stuff for the government sector we are doing. So in that also have we done virtualization, maybe 80 application machines are there in the it is virtualized, but the database servers it is physical servers, and what will be the server configuration and which all locations you have to be. Even in Oman we are we have the remote locations, like we are sharing the data from here to other locations, two locations, and another site is called the DR site. DR site means a disaster recovery site for especially for the database, because this is most valuable thing for the complete visa or these are very important data. So they cannot afford even one data to lose. So this is the architecture, infrastructure level. So what is required, what is the specification, locations. That's what I'm talking about. RPO and RTO and all. What I said means it depends upon the customer requirement. Like sometimes it will be a bank. So here it is what we are working for for the police, for the Royal Omani Police. For it's a very crucial data and stuff like that. They want search and find, and it is integrated with the flight. Electronic visa, and this another is called something like if you rent a car, if you stay in a hotel and you want to fly back, if somebody come, I can get the data of you. If I have the passport of your passport number, I can from the back and I can see that where you did, what you did, or in which hotel you stayed, and when you are going back, exiting from the country, do you have any liability? You didn't pay back the rent a car, or you didn't pay back the stuff, we can hold you there in the airport. This is a system what we are preparing here for the last 3-4 years, the projects like that. So in that the infrastructure part I'm taking care, for many things. So but I never used like the framework of a TOGAF or this or that, because I don't know this um, uh, particular way. But it's a traditional architecture designing, that's what I'm doing as of now. So when you talk about enterprise architecture, and I don't understand, that's why on that day I asked this question: what is the difference between a solution architect and an enterprise architecture? It's completely for our organization. Then you explain to me it's completely for an organization or something like that, a higher level. And now the governance, these terms I'm not familiar, or I don't know. Framework, governance, who take the decisions, for before you ask who take the decision for the technical one. For us, it is like a CTO. Technology one decision is taken care by for me, I'll be reporting to CTO. He will take the decision, and on the top, the the board members, like that. So that's why I'm just listening from you to try to understand with the with our subject, TOGAF with this. So for me, TOGAF, this framework, these terms are new. New means not much familiar.
Okay, no problem whatsoever. So the TOGAF, if you're talking about, it's a framework, it's just a best practices, it's a methodology is all about, because it will tell you the company. Suppose you are working in a company, the startup company, or if you're talking about some medium size or enterprise companies, then the companies are working different type of tasks. Okay, or in the, if you're talking about some IT infrastructure sort of point of view, they are doing some most of the tasks, the security operations or different operations about it. So the TOGAF is a framework. It's just going to provide the right direction, the right practices is all about, right? So what is the right approach to doing the things? Suppose you are working in a company like infrastructure company, okay, and you are going to do a number of tasks in a day. Okay, sometimes approval, sometimes change management, sometimes incidents happen, sometimes the procurement, sometimes vendors management, and there are multiple things you're going to perform day-to-day basis. So once at the end of the results, okay, at the end of the quarters, you would like to share the results in front of the management that what you're going to perform it. So some of the tasks you have done it, some of the tasks are pending. So there is no specific strategies you want to create. Okay, and suppose the second example I would like to refer to you. Suppose you are going to migrate, or suppose you are going to uh, implement a new company, and you are going to create architecture designing, but there are multiple tasks will be there. So however the teams are available, but you are not aware about that what is the right step, what is the first step, what is the third step, what is the 10th step. So it's a step-by-step practices, it's a best practices which you're going to follow it. So that is why we have TOGAF, we have COBIT, we have ITL. So these are the some type of frameworks which is going to provide the right direction of your company to doing the things. As you tell me that you are doing it infrastructure management sort of stuffs, but you are not aware about, you know what, the step-by-step things. Suppose you're going to do migrations. So what is the migrations right step? Which are the steps you need to perform first, and which are the steps you require to do